mark are the ones that you're actually supposed to drink. Did
she just die on screen?
I mean, Lindsay, there is one there that is literally an entire canned chicken.
No, I want to get a straw.
Just in case anyone wasn't sure they were to drink that.
The fireball was mine. I'm really curious to know how it is because I pulled that recipe off.
It's really good. I'm gonna get fucked up.
Lindsay,
No.
What all's in it again?
Anyone tries to drink all of them.
Everything.
Lindsay, if anyone tries to drink all of them, they're going to die. Please tell them not to drink all of them.
Oh God, no!
It's got fireball and grenadine and ginger ale and apple cider.
It looked tasty.
That sounds really good.
Ginger ale by itself.
Anyway, sorry, Greg, you were reading us your greatest hits, which I was very much enjoying.
Could I?
Well,
I was.
Could I for a second?
Go ahead.
Sorry. So, just to put people in how ridiculous those first two were, and I see JJ Gass is on here also, and he can kind of back me up on this one. I'm reading this, and I spend a lot of time in the part of the world where defamation is a hell of a lot easier to prove than in the U.S. And I spend a lot of time in parts of the world with other lawyers from completely other jurisdictions. I have personally shown that letter while drinking to lawyers from Switzerland, France, Spain, Nigeria, and I have yet to have somebody read that and not audibly laugh.
Yeah. Well, that's how Tyler Wolf got involved in it, because he had heard about it from one of the other lawyers down in Australia.
I'm an attorney in Florida. That made the right. Like I and my colleagues, my judge was beside herself with laughter.
They're amazing. And I didn't even get to the funniest one yet. So, the first one was from Ron's letter. The second one was from Monica's. The third one went to Jamie. And on this one, it says, on February 7th, 2019 at 12:32 a.m., you tweeted, "What would Jesus do? Light him on fire and send him to hell." This statement, besides being blasphemous, is defamatory, and it too is false. There's not a single place in the Bible where Jesus states that he would, quote, light someone on fire and send him to hell. Jesus spread the message of love for everyone. Sorry, go ahead.
Apparently, Beard has never heard of Pass.0.
Right.
I was also going to say, can we even confirm that Percy's read the Bible?
Probably not.
Can we even confirm that he can read?
He had this last sentence, which is great. He goes, Jesus spread the message of love for everyone, not vindictiveness and defamation. So these letters started making the rounds, and it was the piece of shit one that actually got the most attention. And I don't know if Akiva was able to join us, but he's a lawyer in New York. He does a lot of business litigation, and he took a screenshot of it and had sent it to Ken White in California. You all know him as Pope Hat. And then as everyone else is talking, I have no clue any of this exists. I am completely oblivious to what is going on. Pope had retweeted Akiva, so I saw that there was a letter, but I had no clue who it was, had no clue what it was about. And then 2 days later, Shannon McCormick, who's also a voice actor, tags me. And he's like, yeah, I kind of want Greg's opinion on this. And before the Threadnaught, I replied directly to him. I said, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the hell is going on. And what started everyone going off is I said, who is Vic, and why does he have a moron representing him in a formation suit?
We've all seen that tweet so many times, we have it memorized. I think it's actually in my skull somewhere, like the laser engraver.
Yeah, within the last 8 months, that tweet has been at the top of my timeline more than any other tweet without a shadow.
That's not the one that's at the top of your timeline. The one that's on top of your timeline is the one that started the Threadnaught. I put in there, today I learned about this Vic lawsuit, and I put in the hashtag I stand with Vic, which that was my big error, was putting in the hashtag.
Look, Greg, I think you're being a little modest, and I don't remember who coined this phrase, but you were the asshole that we needed.
And I was going to say, your big error was getting involved in the first place, not putting in the hashtag.
Right.
I don't think people...
Go ahead, sorry.
I don't think people realize how bad it was before this. Like we needed someone not only with the legal authority to counter the dipshit ramblings of Nick, but we needed someone who could add that hint of comedy to it. And actually, make it entertainment.
Yes. Yeah,
I did my best, but you can only be called a fat whore so many times before you decide to stop engaging.
Right. It just felt like everyone who is a part of like the support of the victims felt so alone because there was like no actual authority to be able to speak on these matters, because unfortunately Nick, as not intelligent as he is, was the only quote unquote authority in this conversation. So we felt kind of like without a life raft until obviously Greg came around, and he's been just amazing.
Real quick, Yeah,
brief
it was
aside.
mostly. Sorry, just technical issue. Real quick, brief aside. So, Greg, if you could tweet out, the live stream thing. I'm recording it. I've been having a serious issue trying to get it as enough people have piled into the meat call. I don't think it's going to be able to live stream. I just don't have the horses for it. But I will have this whole thing. After the first about 10 minutes, I'll have the whole thing completely recorded, and I'll just upload the recording when it's over. So it's not going to be live streamed, but it will be, available once it's done.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't even have a chance to tweet it out in the first place because when I opened up Twitter, I had like 5 bazillion fucking notifications.
Well, that's probably why there were only 3 concurrent viewers. So there you go.
Greg's about to hit 100,000 followers, so all this police brutality is just a long con.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
you
How
just
do your phone not explode from all these notifications?
Hey,
Greg,
how
about
about
you tell us about tell us about the beginning, the origins of where you started the lolbuck stuff and how crazy that shit got. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to have some sort of structure going on, even though things are a little loosey-goosey, but you getting paid.
You're good. Now, Alexis, here's what I'm going to do. Before I get to that, I want to talk about like the first 3 days of the Threadnaught, because that shit prior to this week, those first 3 days was the most that my Twitter has ever melted down ever in the history of
By all means, Gorgeous, go for it.
So I'm at lunch. I'm in Hillsborough, North Carolina, which is a rural county. It's one of the 3 counties where I practice. It's the most rural out of all of them. And there's a place called the Wooden Nickel, and it's a bar. But god damn it, it has the best chicken wings in anywhere in North Carolina. So I'm sitting here having chicken wings. And I do this, just learned about hashtag I stand with Vic. Go check this old defamation law explainer. And Screech, they read the complaint, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, I read the complaint already. This is bullshit. What the hell are you talking about? And it's just a fucking stream of people telling me to go on Nick's YouTube channel and debate him and whatever else. And I'm like, what the fuck am I going to debate you for? Me debating you doesn't make the law more or less different. Your guy's going to lose. So then, as it's going on, he gets in more. He's sending me DMs talking about, hey, you're welcome on my show, blah, blah, blah. Then he just says, fuck it, you're not allowed on my show. Fuck you, you're an asshole, et cetera, et cetera. And then like an hour later changes his mind. It's like, well, if you really want to come on, it's okay. I'd love to have you on, et cetera, et cetera. And this goes on for like the first 3 days. And it's just a shitload of chuds diving into my mentions. And instead of just letting it go, I'm like, well, fuck it. I'm going to reply to y'all bastards, and I'm going to put you as part of the thread and point out that you're completely fucking stupid. So we're talking about like specific paragraphs in the complaint and how utterly ludicrous the whole damn thing is. Well, then Screech just starts making shit up. Like he's fabricating the fucking law. So there's one where I point out the requirements for the Texas Defamation Mitigation Act. And he's like, well, that's for statutory libel. What about common law slander? And I'm like, in the statute, it says it applies to both. What the fuck are you talking about?
What?
So
law is different in Texas.
Also, libel versus slander. Does he know what century it is?
Percent.
So just to follow up on what Greg said, I got aware when Renfremus tweeted it, and literally I then looked at Greg's thing, and he immediately was on it, and his entire mentions are filled with people quoting utter ridiculous, and he's trying to respond with like I'm British, as you can tell by my accent, and I'm like, I've got a better understanding of American law than you people do, and I don't even live in your country, and it was just utterly ridiculous.
It's important to understand the frame of reference here. It's not Nick's law expertise was good compared to the common man. It's his law expertise was good compared to anime pillow people. Okay,
if I may posit a little bit, I was the paralegal from Canada who kept saying to Nick, hey, you might want to tone down the acidity of your Twitter, and basically getting told, go jump in a lake with something tied to your neck or something else. And I kept saying, look, you're a lawyer. I'm a paralegal. I have practiced as a paralegal about 4 or 5 times longer than you have, as I found out later. And he basically, sent his little armies after me. And I'm just like, I'm old enough to be your fathers in most cases. Hell, I'm old enough to be your grandfathers in a couple of these cases. It's obvious. It's just like, ugh.
So because Greg...
The funny thing is, with Nick's reach, it didn't even hit all of the anime community. Like, I'm fairly involved with at least industry sections of it, and I didn't hear about him until the Threadnaught happened.
Right.
Huh. So
I'm trying to find the Twitter analytics where I actually can show y'all how ridiculous my mentions were, but I can't find it.
I remember Greg, you pointing them out to people who, when they were like, well, go on his stream, it's got 26,000 people, and you were like, I've got 2.1 million per day. But that was the whole point where everybody kept telling Greg, go on Nick's stream, go on Nick's stream. This is where I got brought in, is because Ren and I were kind of buds from the Comicsgate stuff, and I had Renfamous on my show to talk Comicsgate and the EVS shit and that Umbrella guy and all those dipsticks. So Ren had retweeted out right on the first day of the Threadnaught. She'd tweeted in the whole thing about Greg. So all these people are, go on Nick's stream, go on Nick's stream. And so finally I just posted and was like, actually, how about you just come on my stupid show, which I'm not going to try and promise you that you're going to get any sort of reach out of it because I've got maybe 400 listeners, but we'll have fun. And wonder of wonders, Greg, through the miasma of nerd sweat, somehow saw my tweet and was like, yeah, sure, that sounds like a good time.
I got a question.
What's that?
Has anybody... hi to everybody. Has anybody found the vending machine that Nick used to get his law degree out? Because apparently nobody else can find it. We're just.
I thought it was a cereal box, honestly.
I saw the abandoned lubies that Beard practices out of.
I thought he just scrolled it on a napkin somewhere.
It's funny. I just want to
it in blackjack font at least.
It's funny. I just also want to point out something. Before Greg really got involved, like I said, I've been an attorney. I wasn't really on Twitter so much. Mostly, we were kind of fighting it out on message boards and everything. But every single time when it kind of, reached its pitch, it was always, oh, here's this guy. He's an actual lawyer. That phrase, by the way, is used so much. And we would say things like lawyer or not, he's not quoting the law. Like, the burden does not shift because someone denies it. It doesn't matter under Texas. Here is everything. Here's the statute. Here's the case law. We were being drowned out because it was all some of these websites where these people were so pro-Vic. And then the law community on Twitter got a hold of it. And that's, where I naively, I expected this to kind of be like, oh, that maybe this is a moment where every other lawyer on the planet thinks this is stupid. But no.
You were definitely naive, but it's funny because that was, just to give you some of the greatest hits, and this kind of leads up into why we created the Lolbucks, discussion. We were being quoted with stuff where, like, Screech had a clip where he said, in order to meet your burden under the TCPA, all you have to do is deny it under oath, and that's good enough. And then the burden shifts to the defense to prove truth, which is totally fucking false. Had a bazillion people tell me that the First Amendment is different in Texas, which is also totally fucking false. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. Like, there's a litany of them. And I was just like, before long, I just started quoting back other stuff that I already said, doing copy paste and everything else. Well, then I'm getting messages. So everyone knows what Kiwi Farms is. I never actually went on that website because I was always worried they're going to log my fucking IP or something. But I had people who started sending me screenshots. And everyone's like, oh, this whole Greg thing, Greg's setting himself up to be the anti-Nick. He must be getting paid, blah, blah, blah. He spends all his day on Twitter, blah, blah, blah. And what's funny is that I was just sitting in court with jack shit to do, or I was sitting in a bar eating chicken wings, So this was just me scrolling through my phone, seeing weeb bullshit, and deciding to respond. Well, then I actually tweeted out publicly. Why don't we come up with a joke? Let's say I'm getting paid per tweet. I need y'all to tell me what you think is a dollar amount that is sufficiently ludicrous that it's obviously false, but at the same time is still somewhat believable for the VIX set. And we just settled on $25 per tweet plus bulk rate bonuses for likes and retweets. And I just started repeating that all the fucking time. And these dumbasses believed it. So every time I would talk and I would make a legal point, everyone was like, oh, you can't believe him. He's getting paid to say that. I bet you it's Monica and Ron that are paying him, et cetera, et cetera. I never got a fucking dime of any of it. I just made this shit up openly with collaboration from those of y'all on the Threadnaught.
Oh, no. You got money. You got that GoFundMe for the Texas thing. Where'd that money go, Craig? Where'd it go?
God. I'm such a GoFundMe grifter. So it not just
Where are the receipts?
Open the book, Greg. Open the books.
Greg, just to validate you, Greg, Kiwi Farms did in fact get hacked and everyone's IP address got stolen. So, you know.
Okay, so I'm not crazy then.
No.
Well, and also for that matter, when I wound up having Renfamous, Mars Girl, and
Len?
Yeah, on at the same time, they lost their shit, wound up doxing me, wound up like gleefully speculating about how much I sexually abused my kids. And about whether or not my kids would kill themselves or me with my guns. So like,
Kiwi Farms sucks.
Yeah, it's the standard, and they what I really found amusing was going on and looking or having some people look for me where they were like, oh, I'm counting down the time before they lock down their social media and delete their stupid podcast because they're so scared of us, and then I don't delete the podcast, and eventually they got tired of trying to fucking scare us and went away because it's like, motherfucker, I get more actual hate as a trans person in rural Indiana in a day than you dipshits could put out against me in a lifetime on your stupid little fucking website. I'm not scared of you. What are you gonna do? Call me names?
One question for you, Alexis. Are the children that they said you were abusing, were they actually yours or were they imaginary?
No, I do have 2 actual kids, and they did in fact post my kids, which was the one thing that pissed me off.
To meet one of them earlier.
It's probably worth, given this is apparently going to go on YouTube at some point, given the subject of Kiwi Farms has come up, making clear that Kiwi Farms is widely acknowledged to be an internet hate site with a history of doxing, who has been prosecuted by the New Zealand government for publishing violent hate speech.
You love to see it.
Hell yes, Kiwi government. Thank you for doing what the U.S. government did.
Let's be clear. The irony is their entire history, ironically, is turning on each other and stabbing each other back. But it is a hate site to the extent that they cannot register in the U.S. because they will disappear. Under America's very wide free speech laws, they cannot register in America.
So isn't the guy who runs it? No.
Can I say something in
Iceland or something?
Real quick, it's also funny that the guy who runs the site got doxxed by the site users because that's how they roll.
He's hiding somewhere though. He's like hiding out of reach of people. I can remember that. I just don't know where the fuck he is.
Joshua Moon, and he's in northern Florida.
The thing about Kiwi Farms, that calling them a hate site, they'll take that as a badge of honor. The part that got me is how bad they were at doxing people.
Yeah, Greg, how's that Hyundai you drive?
On a Hyundai.
So, and let's talk about this for a minute, okay? So, in 2016, I ran for the state legislature here in North Carolina. And it's common in politics to dig up dirt on people. So your campaign will hire a guy to do research on you. It's called doing oppo. And then the other campaign is going to do it too. And I did that in 2016. One, I don't have any fucking skeletons because when you have skeletons in your closet, you're subject to potential blackmail. And I'm like, fuck that, I don't care. But then 2, like there's stuff that was obvious that if you wanted to use it against me, the first one would be the fact that my son, now lives on his own, but at the time lived with his mother, and we weren't married. And the second one was that I'd filed for bankruptcy. Those would be the 2 obvious fucking things that 10 seconds on Google you would find when you put in my name. It took them a week to find that shit. Then they started talking about the fact I drove a Hyundai. I haven't drove a Hyundai since 2016
And what the-
because it
what-
got totaled in a car
What the hell is
accident.
wrong with a Hyundai anyway?
I mean, that was also a layer of stupidity, but the fact that they're still talking about the fact I drove a car I didn't have in 3 years. And then they're like, oh, his dog is named Samson. Guys, Samson died in 2017. You're fucking years
The fact
behind,
that Kiwi
bro.
Farms
Like,
has
come
the
on.
research ability of those people that send you mailers asking to buy the car that you don't have anymore. Like they're on the spam mail level of research there. You know, they're asking you if you still live at this address.
They're
And they get really angry that you're on a CPAP machine
Greg?
for some reason.
Greg, you forgot the other obsession, the fact that you have in the past had sleep apnea. Oh my God, you've had a common medical condition.
Yours.
Oh
You
my
put it a
God.
lot more
That's
eloquently
worth
than I did,
500
yeah.
posts.
Right, and you remember on one of the videos when they're making fun of me for it, Ty Beard goes, "Oh yeah, I'm a CPAP machine," and I'm just like, "Fucking moron."
Greg, here's how bad they are at it. At the time, I don't anymore, but at the time, my home address was in my bar record at the Hawaii bar. Not only did they not get my home address, they kept trying to find me on English voting rolls using different middle names than my actual middle name.
Hey, side note, Mr. Questionable Authority over there, when are you going to come on my podcast and talk some bullshit?
When are you going to invite
Do it,
me?
mate. I have.
No, you haven't.
Yeah,
I've never gotten an invitation from you.
Months ago, I responded to one of your tweets and was like,
Apparently it
hey, come
landed
on
in
sometime.
Have you seen my mentions? I don't see half of my mentions.
Fine, then follow me back so I can DM you.
I think my DMs are open, but I can't believe I'm not following you.
My actual original account got nuked, so it's just the Violet Wanderers account now. Neo-Nazis don't like it when you tell them off, and they mass report you. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. And Twitter doesn't check reports.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
I'm gonna take a second.
Sidebar: Twitter is run by a bunch of morons because I got my account nuked. I actually demanded their legal attorney's email address for the purpose of showing them the tweet that got me nuked. Silence and crickets.
Yeah, no,
It's like-
that's because you're talking to a robot.
I mean, every single time I've been banned on Twitter, it's been for misgendering someone who's reported me in bad faith. So
right.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
been fun.
that's how they got me on one of them.
Okay.
Well, there is an upside because at the very least now I am much more better at saying they and them. It did help in the long run, I suppose.
Thank you, Chuds, for making me a better ally of trans people because I now no longer assume pronouns about anyone. And like,
The game we're making a list of people who are traitors to America, and it's really just a list of people.
The
who-
downside of that is Ethan Van Sciver is the one who popularized the they-them bullshit.
I think we probably have to move back it on to Greg's story on the whole history. But
Oh, yes,
given what
absolutely.
was said, let's all just say trans rights are human rights.
Trans rights.
Thank you, as the trans person on the screen.
Human rights. Absolutely.
Trans
So-
haircut.
Here's the thing.
I think
I'll
I was
give
gonna
the
say-
story
Tran,
very
thank
quickly,
you.
like a 2-minute summary on the
And-
story. Ultimately, everything we said was right. They completely lost. Not only did they lose, they lost faster than we thought they were going to lose.
you know, the
Because-
judge dismissed 13 out of 17 from the bench. Good job, man.
Right,
Second
exactly.
amended vacation notice.
I wasn't expecting 13 out of 17 from the bench. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was expecting the judge to percolate on it a little bit longer than that.
I wasn't expecting any dismissals from the bench. So the fact that he lost almost all of it was amazing.
I just remember
I got
watching
wrong
the live
double on
stream.
that one. I thought it was either going to be everything from the bench or nothing from the bench.
Yeah. It just when I was reading like the tweets of it all being reported and how bad Percy was doing, I was like, this
And
this
any
is
evidence,
over.
any.
I think that day in the Discord was just brilliant because we were just taking the absolute piss out of Vix, what he was wearing.
It was so bad.
Who was that lady that was live blogging it? She was a local lawyer.
Otto von Bismarck.
Otto,
Yeah. She's not in here, is she?
Otto von Bismarck was.
She was
the,
Why,
invited.
you going to say something bad about her?
No, she was invited. I guess there seems to be a lot going on in the world right now. I'm not really
Yeah.
surprised if some people.
No, she got doxxed by Kiwi Farms just for live blogging that hearing.
Yeah, Otto von Bismarck is actually her very adorable dog. but I will continue to call her that because that is what she has chosen to go by online, and I don't. So this is how I got involved.
Go for it.
Y'all were like, it was magic because so-and-so was like, yeah, but a lawyer said. And I got involved because I knew of Greg, but mostly because I followed Popat. And I was like, it's not just a lawyer. And then I was like, no, I'm going to go back. Because it had only been like a week and a half at that point. So I was like, I'm going to go back and I'm going to read every tweet. And I read every tweet on the Threadnaught, and I read every tweet in reply to every tweet on the Threadnaught.
Jesus.
And I counted how many lawyers there were, and how many law students, and how many paralegals. And I documented the whole thing and made a spreadsheet. And then Sean Lamont was like, yeah, I'm just going to include that as a footnote in the actual legal filing. And
so, yeah, true story. We called it the Threadnaught, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it is the Threadnaught.
And it is one of the footnotes in one of the briefs. So it is part of the legal record in the case of Vic Mignogna versus Funimation Corps et al.
That's your legacy, Lindsay.
It also records that the lawyers have used more than 60 independent citations and have cited to the law more than 600 times.
Yeah, but that spreadsheet got linked so often to say, hey, you've got one lawyer,
that was the point.
Whatever. Here's 150, 200 lawyers around the world. I mean, I personally know of QCs, they weren't public about it because they can't be, QC's in London saying, have you seen this? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Have you seen this? Like in England, we've got way more lax laws, but
this is the answer to you and what I mean.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Which one was it? It was the one that I think that Greg from the Jamie letter, which I think we started calling the "You have befamed the baby Jesus" quote one on that one. That one, I literally had to buy a retired high court judge another round because he started choking and spewing when he was reading it.
Ooh. So gang, I do have a game written
England
up
and
for you
Wales.
guys,
It was
by
Sir
the way.
Robin Jacob.
Well, I have one thing to do first because I did promise.
Yeah.
So since we're reaching the end of our time, I did promise a birthday toast to our very own Allison. So,
is it time now?
I have my Malort.
I have my vodka soda because nowhere has Malort.
You know what?
A bottle of water.
I'm settling for Jaeger, so let me pour Jaeger.
Oh God, I haven't had a shot of this.
I hate both
To
of you.
avoid incriminating anybody, I will say
border, but I have mezcal, so
I
two
got
small
my
bottles of Malort
Yale shot glass.
materialized in my
That's
house
fine.
today.
Fireball shot.
To Allison, happy birthday, my friend.
Birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Mazel tov.
Hey, this is good.
Oh, that tank rate is different.
Oh, how did you do that?
Ren, are you trying to? Yeah, I was gonna say,
is really
Ren, are
good.
you trying to be Nick over there? Jesus Christ!
I mean, it's as good as a law degree, from what I understand.
This is nice.
I think I'd rather do the shot of Malort than Fireball.
So I do have a game for everybody to play. Now there's a bunch of people on here, so we're gonna have to go quick. But one of the things I think we can all agree about the Vic stands is that I don't think any of them have had a girlfriend beyond a body pillow. So this is an old game from my podcast called Incel Mageddon, and so yep, it's a game about things that incels say. So I thought I was gonna try and look up the original Greg game I played with Greg on the Threadnaught episode, but it was lost to the mists of time and my phone dying between now and then. So. All right, so real quick, these are going to be just like quick multiple choice. So, what did an incel recently assert about women in history? Did they assert that A, women have been the reason technology has been held back? Or that B, even in slavery, female slaves lived life in easy mode?
Both of the above. That has to be B.
I'm gonna go B.
B has to be B.
I have to go B.
I'm gonna say A.
All
I'm
right,
gonna
so
say A.
it sounds
I'm,
like
I'm sticking with B.
it sounds like the bees have it, and the bees do
B.
have it. Yes. Now, speaking of slavery, incels have been talking recently about enslaving women. What do they say is stopping them? A, that they would already have all the women enslaved if it weren't for those damn beta cucks and their Snoopy dog. Or B, they'd already have had to have enslaved women if it weren't for George Soros.
B.
B.
This could legitimately be
I'm going to say that's a tough choice. All right, Catherine.
All right, so it seems like
I'm
the
gonna go-
B's once again have it, but in this case, it is the A's that the beta cucks will rise up and defend them.
But
That makes sense.
Not, like,
Hell yes, we will.
What beta cuckery is, though?
I mean, beta. Hi, Catherine. Nice to see you.
Hi, Catherine.
Hey.
Thank you, Catherine.
I mean,
You're
beta
awesome.
beta cuckery is, of course, that foids, as they are called by incels, spend their ages 16 to 24 or so fucking chads, and then they find some schlub to settle down with and pay to raise their kids, while still fucking Chad on the side.
I don't know about you guys, but I got these like these dumbasses from the Threadnaught and from Comicsgate and stuff. I'm getting like weekly updates about the status of my Utes. Like they're letting me only a couple years left.
Your eggs are gonna go bad.
And I'm like, shit, my mom already has my cell phone number, guys.
The best definition. The best. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go, Catherine.
I was gonna say, just real recently, the Chuds have gotten super into reminding me that I have children. Like they just keep posting, saying, you know, Catherine has 2 children, and I'm like, trust me, y'all, school is closed. I am so aware of the fact that I have 2 children.
Also, how dare you reproduce and have offspring? You fucking monster.
What I love with the different type of chuds, the TERFs or whatnot, where they always talk about, oh, you know, you trans people are always trying to convert kids, and it's like, my kids have 2 trans parents. You would think that if the conversion thing actually worked, both of my kids would be like a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old non-binary set of kids, and they're cis as the day is long, so kind of fucks that whole narrative. All right.
I'll tell you, I can't even get my kids to empty the dishwasher. There is absolutely no way I could talk them into changing gender.
All right.
Just go back on Catherine's point right now. Bear in mind, I have a lot of teacher friends. Right now, if you ask any parent what amount is enough to pay teachers, they'd be like, any amount. Any amount. Just anything.
$800 million.
$1 billion.
Because we have been working our asses off, I promise you.
All right.
I sleep till 10 and spend my money on Funko Pops. So,
question number 3: why do incels say that wearing underwear is for cucks?
Oh boy.
Is it A, wearing underwear is designed to make you infertile by Jews in order to perpetuate white genocide?
that one.
Or is it
Yeah,
B, wearing underwear keeps your dick from growing?
Oh,
All right, that one seemed a little more split between A and B. It is actually it's B. So what the incel used as example was if you keep a ball python in a small cage, it never grows.
What about a garden snake?
Man, are they optimistic.
This man
that the idea is if you confine it, it can't hang down and get bigger. I mean, I get it. Incels generally have what, like a pinky nail worth of a dick. So
yeah,
like,
no, if you keep a baby carrot in a coffee can, nothing's gonna happen to it. So
I don't want to say what they're projecting about there, but they're projecting about a specific fetish, and they're just expressing it wider. So
it's like they never grew out of elementary school. That's like
It's like the only good thing about some of these idiots is like when they say this awful, awful stuff, and if there's like an issue that I'm not like 100% informed on, I'll look it up just to see. Oh yeah, no, they're completely full of shit, and now I know like the ins and outs of why.
Yeah, well, that's the benefit because they never.
But let's be nice on this subject area, okay? I'm Irish.
Now, a brief aside, did any of y'all see, I retweeted it earlier today, and it's like blown up somehow, literally blown up, that an incel was making bombs in his garage to go kill hot cheerleaders in the mall and blew both his hands off?
Yes, I did see that earlier today.
I think you'll find his defense is that his lawnmower flipped around very quickly and chopped both his hands off with the force of an explosion. That's his defense.
Yep.
We can't say that didn't happen, but the police don't seem to agree with him.
As one of the people responding to my thread pointed out, he set out to kill innocent women and instead just killed both of his girlfriends. So.
Ouch.
That should not be funny, but it is.
Do you know how an incel? You know how you can tell when an incel got married?
Right there.
What's that? How
you know how you can
just imagine him on uniforms typing with his fucking hands.
Almost attempted murder.
Yeah. What I was saying was, do you know how you can tell an incel got married?
How?
When he moves out of his parents' basement and into his mother-in-law's basement.
Damn.
All right, I got two more for you, okay? Why are incels afraid of VR such as Google Glass? Is it A, because women will use them to check men's credit scores when they're asked on a date? Or is it B, that they will become equipped with sound wave technology to see through pants and find out guys' dick sizes?
It's none of the above because they can see their waifus in real life. That's not bad.
Is there an all of the above?
It's gotta be A. I'm gonna go with B.
I would say A.
Because that is more close.
Even A are not.
I think the answer is weirdly B. Like A makes more sense, but I think the answer is weirdly B.
I'll go with B.
It is absolutely B. It is absolutely that they're gonna get those X-ray glasses that you used to get in the back of comic books. Those will become real, but only for women and only to check out their tiny little peeners.
So they really all have like tiny. That's what they're telling us.
I mean, you knew it was going to be B as soon as you realized that A was the saner answer.
Sure.
All right, last one, and this one's more than just an A-B. So, according to incels, what are the upsides to war? Is it A, that if incels can get drafted, they can rape enemy civilians? Is it B, that all of the Chads will go to war, so women will be forced to marry incels? Or is it C, it will kill more femoids than any incel can do on his own?
Can I go on a
Can we do all the above?
The last two.
B. I hear a lot of all of the above floating around.
I've been doing all of the above as a joke the whole time, but I'd take it, yeah.
Yeah,
it's all of the above, if not A, but all of the above.
All the above.
So even though I didn't leave it as an option, it is a trick question. It is all of the above. Yes, it is all of the above.
I had a feeling about that.
In a thread about war.
You cannot trick us.
That was the shit that got brought up.
But here's the thing I don't understand. A Chud willingly wanting to go to war? Are you kidding?
A Chad.
That means they would have to leave their parents. Oh, Chad. Okay.
Send them back in time then.
Well, on that note, I'm gonna go drink the rest of this bottle.
Hurt yourself.
It really amazes me that people are just.
There isn't a lot of gray at the bottom of the bottle.
I think Greg did.
Don't tell Nick.
Duck out for Twitch.
So, Alexis, I have a question. Like maybe you can redirect it.
Sure.
But for everyone, ideally, Greg would be back for this. But the question is, at the point they mass reported him, like seriously mass reported him, and he was gone, and like everything stopped while he was reporting it. How did people react to that?
So, firstly, he had his Fiskimol account his podcast account, just like how I've still got my
So
podcast.
he had his sound engineer account.
Yes,
Right.
which
And it
you know
was
he was
the
able to
kind of-
relay
Now,
stuff through.
I will say though, hang on. The first time it actually was
Like,
my mic,
hey.
the sound guy doing it, because I was worried that if I was logging in, I thought Twitter tracked the IPs that you log in under,
Sweet summer child.
and I was worried that
Oh,
my
dude,
backup.
Twitter's not that smart.
I thought the
Oh,
backup
you're naive.
account would get banned too.
It's
So
not
what
that
was
they're not that
happening
smart; it's that they don't
was
care.
that Mike was reading the mentions and he was putting them into a Word document, emailing me the Word document, and then I was supposed to send replies back, and he would tweet it out.
Wow.
And he was so pissed by the time that first suspension ended. He's like, I'm not fucking doing this again. The next time this happens, you're logging in. If you get suspended, fuck it, we'll start another one. So when they got me like a week later, I ended up, that was actually
No, that's
me.
when we got Evangelion. Like that's when we got the Threadnaught anthem.
Right.
Yep. Before
Yeah,
Greg has to
amazing.
bail, the other thing I wanted to talk about, since Catherine's on too, is the Yeti Cup.
Yes.
Can somebody go
That
over the
is
origins of the Yeti Cup and go through that real quick?
Okay, I'll do it because WQ isn't here. Is he? WQ, you here? No. Okay.
No, I can see the whole list. Eric's not here.
So the Yeti Cup fundamentally was a bracketing system whereby WQ Saves took the most ridiculous, insane, jaw-droppingly bad takes from the internet, set them into brackets so that we could vote on them. And it was
Whoever's got
hilarious.
the cop, if it's not
It was
Catherine,
really-
mute your shit.
It's not me. It's not me.
Mute your shit with your cops person.
Surprisingly, not me either.
And so some of these takes were so bad. Like, it got to the point where people were just tagging it. Like, the way people tag bad legal takes now, they were tagging the Yeti Cup. And some of them, I had somebody seriously try to argue, for example, as legal precedent, something from Spider-Man 2. And I was like,
Let's be honest, better than most of what Percy came up with.
I was like, okay, so that movie is fiction. Just FYI. And we had that. We had the Yakuza guy. We had.
I am the Force.
I am
the
source.
Oh
a
god,
couple
Mars
people
Girl
there.
should be here for that shit.
Dude, the Yeti
The
Cup,
enemy hag.
the
We
Yeti
had
Cup was
Chad,
such, it
Big
was such
Chad.
deep lore that I didn't even understand half of the references. Like I missed half of those, and I'm tit deep in this. So
That's why I wanted someone to explain it.
Yeah, it was like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was like a beautiful symphony, like a bouquet of fuckery. That covered such
And I can speak for WQ here. He even excluded the people who were obviously mentally ill.
Yes. Like there were a couple people where it was like, are you like, is this like some weird pose law thing where I can't tell if you're dumb or like
they're all dumb.
cognitively detached from reality?
Or
like a little
I don't think that's even a question at this point. They're all fucking dumb.
dude, fucking, I am the source. Like there's some good stuff in there.
He was not well.
Yeah.
He is still not well, I presume. I haven't spoken to him recently.
But then it's like,
it's a question of how unmoored they were from reality, right?
Yeah, I mean, because there's unmoored from reality, as in, I think Vic could prevail at this defamation lawsuit. And then there's unmoored from reality in the sense of you have to be careful not to piss off the Yakuza in Texas. And I feel like those are two very different categories of unmoored.
Yeah,
And-
but still, the third category, like Raylin, he left them off. Like the really, really, really clinical ones, they were not part of the cup.
Yeah, no, because
if somebody
he
was
was
like, you might
respectful
have
and was like,
schizophrenia.
you're mentally ill. Let's not include you in our.
Yeah,
silly.
but it was touch and go for a couple of those folks.
And the
Like,
fact that you could weed out the genuinely mentally ill and still come up with like 64 like spectacularly stupid comments made over like an 8-month period. Like,
Yeah,
and we're talking like
not even
mind blowing
an 8-month
comedy here.
Brent, not
You
even
built it
8
over
months.
like
Honestly, I still don't know how we got it down to 64.
Well, hey, we didn't. We had playing games. I did the brackets for the final brackets.
Yeah, they were
But
playing.
we had playing games. It wasn't 64. We had more.
We started off with 128 or something. and
We
then
had
it
4
went
playing
down.
games.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's right.
It was what?
It was-
Bad brains, bad laws, bad people, and I don't remember the fourth quadrant.
Bad ideas.
Bad ideas.
Yeah.
Just so many bad takes.
Oh God. Yeah.
Having had the
I'm
chance
so-
to
I'm so
actually
sorry
meet
that,
him in person, he's astonished by the fact that the thing that he built grew in the way that it did, and then he was like, "What the fuck do I do with this now?"
Well, one of the reasons he's like upset is that he's upset that he never got doxxed over it. He's upset that Kiwi Farms has never paid him any attention
Why would
over
you
the
wanna be
fucking
upset about
bracket
that?
he made making fun of it.
Rude.
Rubery,
Rude.
I have the same thing with when we had LJ Ren and Mars Girl on our thing. My co-host, who's an actual like hardcore anime fan, missed out on that episode, and after we got doxxed, he was like, "What the fuck? I'm the third host of this podcast. Just because I missed the one, you guys don't dox me? I'm the only actual anime fan on the fucking show. Alexis watches it every now and again, and Ian doesn't watch it at all. So yeah, no, I completely get that.
Assholes.
Yeah, I have been suspended several times. I have never been doxxed, and that pisses me off.
I've never been doxxed. I'm in Scotland,
I'm
though, so
surprised
I
I
wouldn't give a fuck.
haven't.
I'm
I'm
well out
surprised
of the
I
way.
haven't gotten hit.
But I've showed up on
I
Kiwi Farms
haven't.
once, and the only thing they said about me is that I have a horrible hairline, and my profile picture on Twitter is literally my face. I'm not bothered about having my face on Twitter, so you can insult my hairline all you fucking want.
There's actually a Renfamous appreciation thread on Kiwi Farms, which is absolutely horrifying because
Yeah, but like you branched off at one point. I can't remember what it was. Like,
It is also
almost
hilarious.
standing you. Like,
If we're talking about being
started
doxxed by
like,
Kiwi
maybe she's
Farms,
not that bad.
like if we're talking about being doxxed by Kiwi Farms, we're basically talking about Greg and Renfrew. I have been. I got done by one of the follow-up things that happened. And Nick's stream decided to say, hey, we're now going to sue a whole bunch of other people in the gaming community. And I made that high profile, spread a bunch of stuff. It didn't go to anything because Ty is an
round
incompetent
two.
lawyer that
Dude,
didn't realize he could do anything.
the chick that did most of the doxing on Kiwi Farms, like in the first half of the Threadnaught maybe, and all of the Comicsgate M-Specs, fucking Dominique Sky doxed her ass. Like, I don't know how that happened, but Dominique Sky found out who she was and posted her shit everywhere and like called her school and her parents and her fiance and like just fucked her up. Like, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, her account got deleted from Kiwi Farms.
The actual point is when they dox you, you just lock your Facebook down. You suddenly become aware of all of the Facebook posts you did that you hadn't locked down, and then you lock them down, and that's it. And you say sorry to a lot of your friends.
Get rid of Facebook.
The only thing that I was worried about was my parents finding it, because I know my mom's like bored a lot, so she Googles my name sometimes. And eventually she did find it a couple months ago, and she texted me. She's like, "The fuck is this?" And I had to explain it to her, and she was like, "Oh, so it's like when I got into it with the ladies on the landscaping board." And I was
I had to explain.
Don't mess with those ladies.
I had to explain to my boss what doxing was. And it's common knowledge at my work that A, that my husband is trans, and that B, I'm bisexual. Not as
so that's
common.
out of the way already then.
Yeah, not as common that I'm non-binary. So basically, once I explained to my boss what doxing actually was, and he was like, "Well, why would someone do that to you?" I was like, "Well, they don't like gay or trans people." And he was like, "Oh, well, that's dumb." Like, literally, my work is weird insofar as they're literally like, we don't care how faggy you are, just as long as you're like not doing it on company property. So
that's because your boss knows what a lawsuit sounds like.
Yep, exactly. It's like I can't have my nails painted at work or something, but other than that, they don't give a shit.
That's how it should be. That your boss sounds not awesome, but how it should be.
The operator at work, because I'm the supervisor there. The one operator at work who's been there like 25 years and sounds like Boomhauer if Boomhauer had a couple concussions. After it became common knowledge that I was, not straight, would refuse to accept anything handed from me to him because he was scared he was going to get the AIDS from it.
Get the cheeseburger AIDS.
Yeah, like handing out bottles of water in the summer, and he's like, "No, that's okay. I'm gonna have it."
I will shut you all down if I have to, but I don't want to.
So you know what the worst part's been for me? After my supervisor in the PhD program found out about it, he went, "Wait, you went from like 400 to 2,000 Twitter followers? Okay, you're doing all the social media from now on."
Oh no, that's the worst. My dad found the part of Kiwi Farms that thinks he's some kind of like Middle Eastern like oil baron or something. Like they got this weird narrative going about him, and he kind of digs it. Like I'm pretty sure he reads it because he kind of likes that they think he like owns an oil company or something like that. Like the narrative is very very dynasty-esque over there, and it's kind of great.
So folks, I hate to do this,
but I could. But I could push to meet you all, and I won't. But Greg needs to go to his Twitch stream because we all love the Twitch stream, and it is something that some of us have come to depend on as a source of reliable entertainment in a culture of fuckery. I will keep this channel open.
Fuckery.
I want to say one thing.
Last words. Everyone else is going to shut up, or else I will make them so that you can say them.
Okay.
I just wanted to say thank y'all. This has been a lot of fun. I know we have a formal one that is coming. This was not the original plan, of course. We kind of had on fire, so we had to do a change the last minute. But it's been a fun year. I appreciate having talked to y'all on Twitter. I enjoyed hanging out with y'all here. Hope you'll come back for the official celebration whenever we decide to schedule. Alexis for emceeing, Lindsay for organizing, and for running the tech side. Appreciate y'all both. Happy birthday to Allison.
Happy birthday,
Here. Her birthday is never the biggest thing because for all future birthdays, the response is going to be, "Oh, this is the 30th anniversary of the Threadnaught, the 10th anniversary of the Threadnaught." I just want y'all to know that. But thank you. And if you're into playing games, you can go to Twitch, and we're going to play some. We always play trivia at 10, but we'll play some other stuff before then. That's a little bit more humorous.
Goddamn Quiplash!
We will do Quiplash as probably the 2 games before trivia. You got to go over there to actually play.
You're literally changing the world. All right. Greg, you are literally changing the world.
Greg, we love you.
Sitting waiting in chat.
You're gonna make me cry on camera, so.
Greg, we'll see you. Thanks for everything, Greg. You are awesome.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
I appreciate y'all tremendously. I'll see y'all later on.
See you on the Twitch side. All right, so guys, since Greg bailed out, of course, because he's got his Twitch thing to do, we're gonna do one more game and then we'll wrap things up. Okay? So,
I gotta get in on Quiplash, so I'm out. But bye, guys.
Yep. Anybody who needs to bail, go ahead.
It was nice. I'll keep this open because I love you all, and I never win anyway. So.
Well, I want to say thanks to everybody involved in this, and there's just too many of y'all, and I just cannot thank everybody enough. And this has really opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I just realized that the world is full of awesome people, and y'all just all. I'm Brooklyn now, so everybody just have a great day. Thank y'all very much, and when we're ready to have the real thing, count me in. Everybody have a good night.
Can't wait to see you. Have a good night.
I promise I will schedule it obsessively because that's apparently what I do.
Lindsay, are you still over to Twitch?
No, I'm gonna stick around till like 9:30.
Okay, yeah, I think this game will only take about another 10 minutes, and then we can kind of wrap things up, say goodbye, say questions, say testimonials or what have you. But so the other side, and again, these are games that I've already actually run on my podcast, but my life has been hell. My boss got quarantined, so forgive me for reading stuff from 2 years ago. But so I've got another one here because in addition to incels, I think the other big category for the not opponents, as it were, would be the Miggitos, the MGTOW, the men going their own way, as it were. Thank you, love.
Men getting triggered over women.
That men going nowhere. Men
getting triggered over women. That's what it stands for.
So they have their own distinct. They have their own distinct forums. A lot of times, and if it were a smaller chat or I had more time, I would show you guys the cooking disasters that they throw up, where they're like, "Oh, look what I made without women." But if you guys are interested in that, I can. There's a couple of episodes of my actual podcast where we talk about that stuff and where we link some pictures where they're like, I cut up an entire pound and a half of sausage at 9 a.m. and fried it. Why? Because I'm free from evil women. But anyway, so according to the Miggitos, what body part are women using to hypnotize men right now? Is it A, their legs, B, their eyes, C, their arms, or D, their lips?
I seem much more logical.
I seem logical.
They're a test they're never going to get.
There's a bunch of A's and D's thrown around here.
I'm gonna say
arms.
You are correct. Whoever just said I'm gonna say arms. It is in
That
fact.
was me, Crystal.
Yes, they are hypnotizing. Oh, it was Crystal. Yeah. I mean, you listen to my podcast, so there you go.
Well, basically, basically men think women are Scarlet Witch.
Apparently, but yes, so apparently because, see, it's getting warm and you can wear like a strapless or a spaghetti strap or something, and then you have those long, smooth arms that are begging to be, I don't know, bitten or something. So yeah.
Megito's like arm curl?
Yeah,
Megito's like arm curl?
well, apparently what Megitos really want is fucking like Amish society where they go, oh, she showed her ankle, my goodness, the scandal.
Never! How dare you?
All right, so
Alexia, I just want to say,
yes,
the stock answer should have been it's their breast. That's always the answer. It's always the answer. That's it. That's like the stock Fox News. You know,
tits or
social
ass.
media.
Yes.
How was that not even in your list? Like
because because arms would have stuck out so much if I had like the traditional stuff that everyone would go, oh, it has to be the weird one. That one fucking douchebag MRA guy, not Stefan Molyneux, but somebody of his ilk, wrote that entire book about how women use their ass to control men. I know, trust me. Question number 2. At what age does the average Stacy start fucking her first Chad, and how old is the Chad?
God. Oh my god. Wait, hang on. What age of her or what age of him?
So at what age does she start, and at what age is the guy she starts with? Is their supposition? Is it A, 13 and 20? Is it B, 12 and 17? Is it C, 15 and 25? Or D, 16 and 30?
I'm gonna go C.
I'm gonna say D because everything else horrifies me, but all of them are horrifying.
I want to go with all of them are horrifying. That bring it down to that level.
I'm gonna go with the one that where she was 12 and the guy was whatever age, because that sounds the most horrifying. So therefore, it's the most true.
So it was A, 13 and 20. According to Migitos, they think that Stacy's.
What 20-year-old interested in a 13-year-old? I mean, what is wrong with him?
The Migitos. That's the 20-year-olds. That's the 13-year-olds. The Migitos themselves. You've got to remember, this is a group of people who have frequently posted that women hit the wall, after which point you become old, saggy, and unattractive at age 19. Which means
well, then I am so old, so saggy, and unattractive, and I am so sorry.
Like, the original MRA concept of the wall was age 35, but eventually they pared it down to where it's like, oh no, if she's legal, she's already starting to sag. Like, it's the grossest shit in the world.
There are points when they literally say, actually, legal is a unfair definition.
I
like
think
Alexis, I've read some of the stuff. They literally say legal is an unfair definition. It's horrific. It's horrible.
Oh no,
It's
that's Paul. That's my whole thing about how libertarians are Republicans who are pissed off about weed laws in the age of consent.
Yeah. Some of their definitions are. I think I'm going to go into it. It's
totally different conversation.
All right. Question 3. What does one Megito compare women to now that he's been red-pilled? A. The facehugger parasites from the Alien series. B. The shape-shifting monster from The Thing. C. The alien in Species. Or D. The aliens in They Live.
Species because of the highly sexual content in that, so it's going to be A or B.
I'm going to say A.
All of the above.
All of the above.
I'm going to say D.
I haven't seen any of those movies.
I'm going to say D.
All right, so it is D.
Not only, but I don't watch those movies.
It is D, the aliens and They Live, because, see, the gynocracy has convinced regular humankind that women are not in charge. Oh, I love Paul's face right now. I love Paul and I love Quest Authority over here, just like giving me that love.
And the irony is,
I just love when most people like almost intentionally like misunderstand those films, especially They Live.
I work with vulnerable youth, and we talk about significant issues. And obviously, a bunch involves trans youth and LGBT youth and things like that. But it still involves people saying, "Hey, I've had this. Can you explain it?" And I'm like, I can't explain. Like, all right, let's go back. And like, dear God, it's still horrific. Yeah.
So what's fun for me is normally I only traumatize one or two guests at once on my podcast with these games, and now I've got 15 sitting around having to deal with it. Question number 4. Why are women lazy? Is it A, because society lets them get what they want through sex, or is it B? Is it B, because men don't hit them when they nag anymore, or is it C, because they are just a food source for babies?
It's like it's the worst of them.
I'm sure it's A, but it's also awful.
Let's do cartoon if you're going to get a hint.
I'm gonna say A.
I'm going to D. I'm going to D. One or other of them said all of the above.
Hey, Paul's got it. Tricknall, you fucking above.
Yeah, okay.
The initial premise.
When did we fall in? When did we fall into
The initial positing of the thread was C, that they were just a food source for babies and therefore allowed to be lazy, and then other Miggitos chimed in with A and B. All right, last one, and then we'll wrap this up. So men age.
Literally commit trauma on us now.
Men age like fine wine. Women age like.
We don't.
No, they don't.
Well, yeah.
Have you met them?
Women age like A, milk, or B, raw meat.
They go with raw meat.
Raw meat. Raw meat.
No, it's raw meat. They think it's going to make them strong. It's going to be A.
A.
I agree with that, but like, look, I'm 45. Look at my picture. I used to be an Olympic athlete. Like, no shit. I was on the short list for the Olympics. Look at me now.
So it was A, that women age like milk, and their idea was that they spoil once they've gotten over that wall of being a legal age to have sex with, because Miggitos are, if anything, even grosser than incels. So, anyway, that's the Miggito match game. I'm sorry.
That's a fun game, huh?
Yeah. It is so fun to hang out with you. Thank you for coming, and thank you for hanging out this long.
Yeah, guys.
So first of all, I want to say a few things to Lee. Thank you so much for setting this up, and Alexis, I want to say thank you for helping do the organising. I'm kind of conflicted now because of the questions you were asking.
Exactly what I want to hear. Hey, I'm a dog. Dramatizing people is my thing.
Yeah.
Hey, we all here to be in here.
Yeah.
For a definition of volunteer.
Making everyone aware of
Very nice,
that is always important.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's kind of the thing that's like why I do these sort of games on my podcast, is because it's not necessarily just, oh, I want to show you guys some fucked up shit. So it's like, hey, gang, there's people out here who actually believe this stuff, and that needs a light shown on it, even if it makes us cringe a little bit when we do.
I think it's something you have to stare into the face of uncomfortable truth to be able to learn from something.
Yes. Thank you, Crystal.
Maybe the last couple of weeks have shown us.
Also known as Crystal's been on my show before and has her soul scarred enough that she can manage it.
Yeah, I was on when we were doing the whole making fun of Christian sort of media and stuff, so I can handle this entire thing. I mean, it's sad to desensitize all that crap.
I lost one of those down because of parents and various other stuff. Unless you're aware of why that happens and the things that lead to it, you just don't know. You can talk about it, you just don't know.
And once again, respect to you. You said you work with trans youth.
Yeah.
It took me until age 35 to come out as non-binary. It took my husband until he was 42 to come out as a trans. Like, you're doing the Lord's work there. Like, it's hard.
I'm 45, but I'm a cis het white guy, as privileged as possible to be. I really am as privileged as possible to be. It took me a long time to understand how that worked, to then work out how I can feedback or what I can do with it. It's tough. It's not tough for me. It's tough for everyone else. It's not tough for me.